Hello, I hope you are well. So another try of a Temu product. They call it resin casting. And if you go to this article, I have the impression that it looks more like plaster than the usual resin that you find with water, that you mix with the water. I don't know what it is. I'm very dubious because there's no indication except in the front, as for the other one I showed you in the previous video called Resin Recreate. Here it's also just 3 parts powder to 1 part water, and that's it. I don't know. I'm going to try 2 things. Well, it will certainly be as fluid as what I showed you in my last video. So, a marble defect, I forget. It's useless. I redid it with this one in this mold too. This time mixing the pigment completely. I'll see what happens. I'll see if I still have that rough look on one of the parts. Anyway, I'll give it a try. So I'll use this one. I'll do my measurements. First, I'll make one with 50 grams of powder and 15 grams of water. And then I'll make the other one with a little variation to see how it turns out. So see you in a second. I measure my ingredients. So same thing as for the other product. It's very white and frankly reminds me more of plaster than of mineral resin mixed with water, as you can find. But I really couldn't find any indication of the composition. And in the description of this resin casting, they mention the word plaster. So frankly, I don't know. It blends in really well. Personally, I really feel it's more plaster than resin. I'm almost convinced of it. And then there's that fluidity you get with Plaster of Paris, which you can use too. So, is that why my previous test with Recreate resin stayed wet for so long? I'm really wondering. Well, anyway, let's color my mixture. I'll take a pigment from Homeware Design & Co. and just 1 drop. Yes, just 1 drop. And what's the color? Oh yes, it's apricot. I get exactly the same thing as I did with my Recreate resin test. It's exactly the same. I don't know what it is. So I think to find out whether it's resin or not, I'll do a crash test. Yes, I'll do later a crash test. That way I'll know for sure. If it breaks easily, it's plaster. No more, no less. And in that case, the price is totally unjustified. If it stands up to my crash test, it must be resin based. In any case, there's no bubble. No bubbles, no lumps. That's great. So now I pour in my mold, and I'm going to do my measurements for the other one. I'm going to add a little thing. So, see you in a second. For this one, I put a stencil inside, and I'm going to pass my pencils over here. I'm going to pass this one. I'm spreading the powder, and you can also use chameleon pigments or other pigments, of course. Okay. It's very useful, these stencils. And I'll see how it looks when I put my product in this one. I'll finish preparing my mixture. First I'll remove my stencil, of course. It's better, yes. You see a little red circle inside. The other one I left here to dry so as not to make any mistakes. I measure, mix and pour. So I've made my mixture, now I pour. Will the powder hold? I simply pour in white. I don't color it, there's no need. For this product, they say you can pour more or less water. I have poured the right amount. 3 parts of powder, 1 part of water. Right, I'll see you in 20 minutes or half an hour, as the drying process should take effect in 30 minutes. So, while I was waiting, I thought, let's see if it looks like Plaster of Paris. So, here I have both with the resin casting and I have Plaster of Paris. I've already noticed that it's much less white. I don't know if there's Plaster of Paris specifically for, let's say, craft work, but here frankly it's a lot less white, that's for sure. So I thought, let's go all the way. So this one I'm going to do with Plaster of Paris, and then I'll compare the solidity. We'll see. Then we'll have done the whole thing. I'm going to put a drop of colorant in there too. No reason. Why not? To make this mixture, I put 1 volume of water, because this time it's by volume, for 2.5 volumes of powder, because 1 volume of powder was very, very light. So that's how I did it. I don't know how long it will take to dry. I think it will take longer than the others, because the others take half an hour. Well, let's get on with it. And I can see that I've got a few more bubbles. Yes, I don't know if you can see. I can see the bubbles, whereas the others don't have any bubbles at all, and no lumps either, of course. But here I've got little bubbles, whereas in the other 2 Temu products I've got no bubbles at all. So we'll see what happens when we unmold it. We'll see how it all behaves. See you in a second. I let my little tests dry overnight to make sure it was completely dried. and Plaster of Paris, of course. So this one is with the Recreate resin. I had done this test where my bag was extremely grainy, whereas here it's super smooth, a little shiny and very pretty. Here I mixed my pigment completely to avoid the look of the other one. So I don't know if you can see, but it's not uniformly even. Well, my goodness. Let's see. So I still have this extremely soft, extremely smooth, slightly shiny side. Here, I don't know, maybe I had a part that wasn't properly mixed. I don't know. And here it's much rougher, but I think it's also due to the mold that have this very, very smooth, very soft side. So it's better to mix the pigment and then mix them carefully, because you see this little thing here. So now this one is Resin Recreate, and this one's with what's called Casting Resin. Same thing here. I've completely mixed my pigment. The result is the same, a very smooth face. Here too I'd only used a drop like here, but you see the color difference. This one is much paler. Yes, and then I've got the back, which isn't smooth, but with the inside of the mold here it's quite smooth. Well, it looks solid. Yes, it looks solid to me. This one I poured without anything, except that I had made a little drawing, a little circle with my powder pencil. Let's see. Yes, the powder holds a good thing. So you can apply powders. There's no problem with this product. Still the same thing, this very smooth side, and this side that's a little more, a little less soft. Since it's not in contact with the silicone of the mold. Well, I'm happy with these powders. I rub hard, but no, I don't have anything that's come off. My white glove or a paper towel. No, I don't have anything that comes off, so it's perfect. And now the Plaster of Paris. The Plaster of Paris, I don't know if you can see, but I've got lots of little holes due to the air bubbles. And it took a long time to dry, the night. As I said, I wanted it to have more or less the same consistency. I could have used a little more powder or a little less water, but I wanted the same consistency. So it took a long time to dry, and it's still wet. I can feel it. And it's going to take several days to dry. And I'm sure that if I press, I'll break it. So it's certain that plaster is much less solid. As I said, as I have absolutely no indication of the composition of these two products, Resin Recreate and Casting Resin, whether I have absolutely no idea whether it's really a mineral resin or not. I really don't know. I admit I don't know. There's no indication of the composition. I went back to the Temu site to see if there was any indication. So I think that for this one, yes, there's a little more information, but there's no real composition. So of course you can do things with plaster, but obviously the solidity will be less. I don't want to break it now. it will be very easy because it's still wet. The others have dried perfectly, so you can add powders of any kind. So you can pour into any mold, even molds with details that you color with any kind of powder. That's all there is to it. Well, I hope you have enjoyed my little tests. Don't hesitate to ask me questions you may have. I'm going to continue testing Temu products I've sent from some others. I'm going to keep on testing to see what it's like, if it's the same quality as the products you find everywhere. See you soon for new adventures. Take good care of yourself. Bye for now.